HOAs. Are they evil? Do you know what HOA stands for? Have you ever lived in an HOA community? Or have you ever heard family or friends call them evil? Is buying into an HOA a wise choice for me? Well, that's the topic of today's video, and it starts right now. According to the Homeowners Associations of Florida website, which is what HOA stands for, there are currently, get this, 1,634 HOAs in Brevard County. That's a lot of HOAs. If you're considering moving to Brevard County, Florida, you definitely want to understand HOAs in case you fall in love with a house that belongs to one. Hey there. I'm Dana Weis with eXp Realty here in gorgeous Melbourne, Florida. Welcome to my channel where we are growing our content weekly with all things Brevard County, real estate, and even just plain fun content. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date whenever we drop new videos. So the first thing to understand is that HOAs are typically incorporated nonprofit organizations of homeowners in particular areas that create and enforce their bylaws, often referred to as CCRs or rules and regulations. CCR just means covenants, conditions, and restrictions, which are all put together into one long document that basically acts as the HOA's Bible. It dictates what the homeowners can and can't do, what the HOA is responsible for, and a ton of other really important information that impacts the homeowners. The next thing to understand is that not all HOAs are created equal. Each community or neighborhood, they set up their own HOAs and determine the rules, regulations that they felt important at the time when they put it together to set down, to follow, to maintain. So as a homeowner in an HOA community, you should definitely be familiar with those particular CC&Rs or rules and regulations. You will actually get those in the form of HOA documents when you put in a contract on a home that's located within the HOA. Don't worry though, here in Florida, the seller is actually required by law to make sure that you have a copy, and no matter when they give it to you in the buying process, you have 3 days to read over them, make sure you agree or don't agree. So you have 3 days basically to decide if you want to back out from the purchase. If you don't, it's really great. But Dana, I want to know if HOAs are evil. Well, that really depends on your perspective now, doesn't it? Because the HOA is nonprofit, it has members rather than shareholders. These members are actually made up of the people from the community, the homeowners within that area that the HOA governs. For the most part, if you live in an HOA governed community, you're a member of the HOA. One caveat here that I do want to say is that some HOAs don't require membership, and you're actually able to elect if you want to become a member. That's really unusual though, but I do have an example for you. One example that I know of that I've dealt with personally is Palm Bay Colony here in Palm Bay, Florida. However, the opposite is usually true, and it can even go so far as to require an interview with the board who must give their approval before you can purchase. This is much more common with condos than it is with single family homes. So I'm a member, big deal. What's in it for me? Well, first, when you purchase a property in an HOA community, you have to sign the documents that declare you will abide by the HOA rules and regulations, or the CC&Rs. And really, probably the most important part is that you're going to pay either the monthly or the yearly HOA fees. But what do those fees cover? Well, again, it really does depend on the particular HOA. Some cover everything outside the home, from lawn maintenance to replacing the roof. How great is that? While others only cover common areas. In general, you can expect the more you pay in the HOA fees, the more they cover. For our area down here, the closer you get to the beach on the east side of US 1, the more expensive the HOA fees are. And they can be upwards to $1,000 a month in some areas, but the more they cover for the homeowners. Wow, maybe HOAs aren't so evil after all. How do they work exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the members typically elect a board of directors, which is made up of the members who are volunteering their time in assisting with making sure that the rules, the regulations, any other issues that arise are all taken care of. So I have a great example of that. Wendover Farms, which is a great, huge community of 744 tree-filled home sites on 940 acres, so it's not a small community, but even one of their size only has 6 volunteer board of directors. Volunteer, of course, means that they have the thankless job of dealing with member complaints, ensuring the rules and regulations are being followed, and giving out fines to those who are not complying. So please keep that in mind if you ever have to deal with your HOA board. The old adage, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, works great when you're thinking about dealing with your HOA board. Okay, Dana, so now I'm leaning more towards yes, they are evil. Why would we have HOAs? Why would anyone choose to live in a community with one? Well, first let me say that if you don't like the idea and absolutely don't want to live within an HOA, there are plenty of options for you here in Brevard County. You don't have to. But if you're like me and a lot of other people, you really, really like the idea of having an HOA. The HOA helps to ensure order, enjoyment of the community. It also, and this is the important part, it helps to protect against depreciation of home values that result from, a deterioration of the community. For example, many HOAs here in Brevard require you to maintain the exterior of your home. And so even though my husband complains about having to power wash the sidewalk, with all of the humid weather down here, mold, black stuff, it just grows on it. It's going to, and you know it's going to, and you know you're going to have to take care of it. So when the sidewalk is power washed, it just helps the whole neighborhood to look better, feel cleaner, just a nicer place in general to live and just drive through. If we haven't cleaned the sidewalks by the time the HOA feels it's time to, they send out a nice little notice to remind everybody to do it. So it's actually a great benefit to ensure that the community maintains that uniform appearance and protects the property values. And I don't mean uniform as in they all look the same, I just mean they all look well maintained and cared for. Just imagine living by someone who doesn't care for the home, their own home, right? And the outside starts to get run down, things start falling off or falling apart. Even though your home may be the best one on the block, its value is actually going to be affected by that other neighbor's home. So when you think of it that way, wouldn't everyone choose to live somewhere that it at least looks like everyone cares about the appearance of the community? The biggest thing to keep in mind is that an HOA is not a dictatorship. It's a democracy. If you don't agree with the rules in the community, then the best thing you can do is to get involved. Start attending the board meetings. Bring your concerns up there. Petition the neighbors to get involved. Heck, for that matter, if you're a born leader, run for a seat on the board so you can push for the changes that you want. Personally, I actually have a friend who did that back in Kentucky before he moved here to Florida. He and some other neighbors did not like the way the HOA was being run, by whom it was being run, I should say. So they ended up all getting involved on the board and actually ended up dissolving their HOA. Now that's a pretty extreme example because the HOA went away, but it just goes to show you that anything really is possible if you truly want change. Homeowners Association really works best when it has the full participation of the community. Although I'm sure the old adage of 20% of the people do 80% of the work, but it works better the other way around. When it comes to Brevard County real estate, remember, make the wise choice. I hope this video helps you decide if you think HOAs are evil or not. If you like the video, click on the suggestion for more. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.